Okay, so I'm starting to realize that people are really disappointed in the fact that it seems like Drake is probably just gonna continue his career like nothing happened. So recently, there's been a lot of, I guess, dialogue online and social media and everything, in general, about how it just feels like somebody just sucked the air out of hip hop. And realistically, all of the releases that have kind of happened since the beef happened, they have come and went pretty much. Like nothing has really stayed. Even GNX, realistically, GNX didn't really stay here too long after the Super Bowl. It came and went, and I think people are realizing the reason why that is Drake hasn't dropped a solo. For All the Dogs was the last album, which was in 2023, so that was 3 years ago. That's probably been the that's probably been the longest time that Drake's gone without actually dropping a solo album. He dropped some sexy songs for you last year. But that wasn't a solo album. That was with Party, and even that album lasted the whole year. Um, but when it came to hip hop, there hasn't really been much to keep people's attention, and that's making me realize Drake not being around basically has cast such a dark shadow over hip hop. It's just like it's not fun anymore. And with him releasing Iceman in a couple weeks now, it's probably one of the most anticipated albums of the last, like, I would say 5 to 10 years. Um, People want to hear what Drake has to say in regards to just him right now, like where his mindset is at. People might want to hear him talk about, like, the beef and stuff, because he really hasn't released songs. He released that one little song about kind of like LeBron. I think it was like last year or something like that. But other than that, he really hasn't released music speaking much on the beef or speaking much on anything that happened. I think people are waiting to see if he can evolve into something else, which, again, I don't know what people want from Drake in terms of evolution. He's literally evolved into every single type of artist that you can imagine. Like, he touches every genre. So I don't understand how people say people want to see him evolve and they want to see him, I guess, act his age. But if you really look at it, one of our favorite rappers, Future, is older than Drake and he doesn't act his age either. Most importantly, people are kind of waiting to see if the pressure from this album or the pressure from this release is going to cause him to kind of like put out his best work. We still don't know what kind of album it's going to be because he hasn't released any single yet. He's been seen shooting music videos in the city and stuff, and like having the ice sculpture, but yeah, he hasn't released anything, so we have no clue what this album's really going to sound like. So people are kind of waiting to see if the pressure is going to either make him come out and deliver something good or deliver something bad. I know he'll deliver something good regardless, but the people that are like on the fence about it, they're probably thinking of it like, is he actually going to deliver something that we can say, oh, this is great music considering what's happened in the last few years, or is he going to say, see, I told you he wasn't who we thought he was? Something I've realized though, the beef didn't. Like, a lot of people thought the beef ended Drake, but it really didn't end Drake. I think right now, especially, it's increased interest in Drake. Um, like, literally, his numbers never dropped. If you really look at it too, the numbers that Kendrick had at that point, he was where he actually, I think he had passed Drake for monthly listeners at one point on Spotify, but went right back because Spotify ended up deleting a bunch of bots, which this is why people call him K-bot. Spotify ended up deleting a bunch of bots, and he's right back to where he was before. And I don't really hear anybody saying much about that. But Drake, being who he is, despite everything that he went through, his numbers never changed. They stayed the same or they went up, but they never decreased to the point where Kendrick's decreased, where he lost like 30 million monthly listeners. What I think people are not realizing too is Drake's scope is so big in terms of who he is as an artist. The hip hop heads that would have you believe that Kendrick is a purist. That's not just Drake has those too, but that's not the only part of his fan base. Like, casual listeners who don't really consume like hip hop beef and things like that. That's a large percentage of Drake's fan base as well. So his audience basically is bigger than what rap culture is. And I feel like for him, that's probably a lot of pressure because there's so many people kind of like waiting on him to drop this album and drop music to kind of just like bring fun back to the world, or bring fun back to the music world rather. And summer's coming up too, so we're hoping that there's songs on the album that can carry us through summer and into September, into the rest of the year. But this is for sure going to be Drake's highest like stakes album in years. Like I said, it's gonna be the first rap release since 2023 for him. People are wondering, what does he sound like now? Is it a new flow? Is it a new person? Is it the same person from before? Like, is he, just like I was saying, like, is he evolving or is he staying the same? And kind of seeing like where he's at, I guess you would say emotionally too. Like what's what topics is he talking about at this point? His rollout has been unconventional to say the least. With the live streams and stuff that he was doing before. I think he only did 2 or 3 episodes, but then I'm honestly surprised he didn't finish it, or I don't know if he will finish it. Maybe he will do a last episode, but we'll see. But yeah, it was unconventional in terms of, the way that he was releasing the album, and even with the ice sculpture too. Even with it being unconventional though, I would say it's revolutionary in a way because nobody's really done an album release or promo like he's been doing it. Mind you, without help of his actual label. Like, this is all on his own with his team. But the thing that I don't understand too, and something I've been seeing online, is people saying the hype is not real. Like, when it came to Kendrick dropping GNX after everything that happened that year and in the Super Bowl, you honestly would have expected that album to be the biggest thing. Like, people were predicting it to sell like on the Joe Budden podcast, people were predicting it to sell like 300,000 in the first day, like some ridiculous shit. And it only ended up selling like 319,000 the first week after everything. Like, literally, for an artist, Kendrick probably had the biggest promo that year, being that he went against Drake and won, I guess, in the public's eyes. And he only sold 319,000. That shows you that the music really doesn't carry. Like, the biggest album that he had in terms of releases is Damn, and it sold 600,000 with bundles, not even by itself, with bundles. And Drake, if you look at his discography, has been someone that's always outsold those numbers without any bundles or without any help, really. So the hype surrounding Kendrick, it's something that I don't understand, because it's just like, all right, he had his moment, but has he ever really proven anything else other than him being, I guess, the one people look to for like the purest part of hip hop? That's the only thing that I can think of Kendrick when people really look at him. As far as like being the bigger artist though, like it's not even close. Literally the numbers speak for themselves. And something that people are starting to realize too, even with even with him being at odds with his label, like, you can see his commercial power is still there. Even with the album last year with Party, people were saying that it would sell like 100,000, 150,000. Ended up selling 250, and was number 1 in 2025, again without bundles or anything. And even after that, the internet was saying, oh, it's only 250, when at first they were obviously saying like it was going to be 100,000. It's only 250 for Drake. He's done. But clearly, as you've seen over the past few months, and with the release getting closer and closer, you see like these brands and things posting memes and things like Drake was posting. Like, I saw KFC the other day post something where it was like the Colonel, and he called himself the Spice Man instead of the Iceman. So you could see like his commercial power has really never left, and he's still who people think he is. But yeah, man, I don't think, like, my honest opinion, I think this is probably gonna be one of his best selling albums in the recent years. I think this is gonna be one of his best sounding albums in recent years too. I don't think Drake's fall off is coming anytime soon. If he decides to retire today, then cool, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I think if he really wants to, he has a good more 2 to 5 years realistically, because I don't know if Drake's gonna want to rap into his mid-40s, and I think he's turning 40 this year. But if he wants to, he has a good 2 to 3 more years of where he can kind of just do whatever the hell he wants, and then just go retire off and go act or do whatever he wants. But yeah, I think this album is super, super, super anticipated, and I think he's gonna deliver when it comes to this. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, man. Is Drake gonna outsell or do numbers like his past numbers? Is he gonna flop and sell like 150? Is the album gonna be trash? Like, let me know what you guys think.